Hey there guys, it's Lucifer Legoborn coming back at you with another video. This video is going to be the final review of the Bible of Cthulhu. I've managed to work my way through the final segment of this book, which is a pretty sizable segment, but it's also very rewarding. It was fairly simple for me to go through it. It is the Tome of Shub Niggurath and whatnot, and so just to let you guys see it, just like the rest of this book, it has beautiful artwork throughout it, and I'm going to take a few minutes now to discuss it and give my thoughts on it. This is probably the main part of this book that literally makes this book, of all the attempted Necronomicons and whatnot, this is probably what makes this particular book the closest to a real Necronomicon ever made. Okay, hands down, I was blown away with Winter's thoughts throughout this entire book. And when it came down to this section, this is probably one of the thickest sections throughout the book, and I was just completely flabbergasted. I mean, he has really put his heart and soul into this book, and I can sympathize with him because, just like him, I've devoted myself to writing books and everything. I have a couple books out myself, and I can appreciate what Winter has done and gone through to put this wonderful book together. So let's dive into the Tome of Shub Niggurath. Shub Niggurath is the goat of 1,000 young, or a goat with 1,000 young. And this is just one of the most amazing sections of this entire book, because this is where we get into the meat and potatoes of actually practicing Cthulhianism. Now, before I jump into this, let me give a bit of a back history of Cthulhianism. Cthulhianism as a religion is founded from the writings of H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft's entire theories and conceptions inspired so many people, and yet he died a pauper. He did not realize just how popular his writings were becoming and would become as time went on, and the fact that he would spawn an entire religion focused around him. Now, Cthulhianism is indeed considered a subcategory of Satanism, but it is also its own unique religion in and of itself. It is its own unique flavor of Satanism, and I refer to it as a subcategory of Satanism, but let us remember, Cthulhianism is its own religion, and it has its own doctrines, it has its own outlooks. The way that it is a subcategory of Satanism is the writings of H.P. Lovecraft inspired Anton LaVey so much that many of Anton LaVey's concepts and principles were founded because of Lovecraft's own writings and theories and his descriptions. You see behind me the STS's personal sigil, the trapezoid Baphomet. This is a commemorative symbol towards Anton LaVey and all of his workings, but this sigil is also inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, because Anton LaVey was inspired by the story The Haunter in the Dark and the shining trapezoidahedron and what it represented, that he created his Order of the Trapezoid completely centered around this principle. Many of the principles, many of the theories and notions founded in modern Satanism comes from H.P. Lovecraft's inspiration. As a matter of fact, in the Satanic Rituals, the companion to Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible, you find two and I do mean two, Lovecraftian-based rituals, which is the Call of Cthulhu and the Ritual of the Nine Angles. They are in the satanic rituals, and it is from this that we establish that Cthulhianism finds its origin as an active religion, from Anton LaVey's, from Anton LaVey's Satanism. What's more is, I've been told a couple times, and certainly it is definitely prevalent in the Cult of Cthulhu, the official Cult of Cthulhu, run by Winter, that people do believe that H.P. Lovecraft was sort of like a prophet, and that he may have been contacted by Cthulhu himself through dreams, that we know that Lovecraft did suffer from extreme night terrors and everything. And I want to share a little bit of back history to that. That was one of the early theories and notions from Anton LaVey's original Magic Circle through Anton LaVey and several of his cohorts at that point in time. They speculated on that. They had heard about the same night terrors and everything. And somebody in the group, I don't know if it was Anton LaVey himself or one of his cohorts in the Magic Circle, made the suggestion that Lovecraft was being contacted by something else, something outside of him. And that's where he got the name Cthulhu. That's where he got all of his principles and theories from. And that's where he got the inspiration for his stories. And from everything that I've studied and looked into on it, that seems to be the earliest point that that theory came into play. That theory started getting tossed around. So there you go. Moving onward, if you want to subscribe to that theory, that it was started by Anton LaVey and his group, go right on ahead. If not, I'm not going to blame you. There's really no full evidence to back that up. That is just one of the stories that I have heard, and it is the story of the earliest point of where that principle came into play. So moving onward, the Tome of Shub Niggurath. Now you have a back history of why Satanism and Cthulhianism are so interconnected, and why it is considered a subcategory of Satanism. Cthulhianism is definitely, especially when you're talking about Winter's Cthulhianism and the Bible of Cthulhu, it is its own category of occult arts. And what we have here in this book is a beautiful, and that is pretty thick, I'm not joking with you, that is actually a significant portion of this book is dedicated to the occult and to certain rituals and holidays and a writing system. Now, I am going to make a quick comment about the writing system, that it is a simple slip cipher. What that basically means, it is the English alphabet, okay, perfectly English alphabet, swapped with a different font, okay. What a font is the alphabet system, just literally the letters of the alphabet. The symbols are swapped with different symbols. There is nothing wrong with this. This is actually a pretty effective way for a lot of writings to be held secret, and just a normal, commonplace person would have a very difficult time of understanding it. But if you can get your hands on a cipher system for it, it's pretty easy to decipher. And that's exactly what goes on here. Now, what's interesting is if you pay attention to how this is like a family tree in the Tome of Shub Niggurath, when you pay attention and actually look at it, you can start seeing different words, such as this one. Okay, you guys may not be able to read that, but it says Yog Sothoth. Okay, and this one over here says Shub Niggurath. Now, if you were just looking at it, it'll look completely alien to you. But I work a lot in fonts, and I can see that, I can see the Y, I can see the S, I can see the N, and I can decipher it from that. So what we have is a Relayan alphabet and system, but it doesn't just end there. And this is where I really, really do like what Winter has done, is we move forward in it, and we find that he's actually incorporated the Relayan language with a full dictionary. A full dictionary. This is one of the most handiest things. I honestly wish Anton LaVey had done that for Enochian, for his translations of Enochian, to incorporate a dictionary of Enochian. And I know he tried to teach people how to speak it later on, but that really didn't help us when it came to reading the Enochian keys out of the Satanic Bible, and just kind of bumbling over it. What Winter has done here is he has made sure that you can understand. He's given you the ability to learn a different language that the cultists and the Cthulhu cult can speak to each other. They can literally learn this language pretty phonetically correct from this, or a large portion of it, enough to pretty much wing the rest of it. And I think that's just really awesome. You can learn the alphabet, have a English to Relayan translation. You can also see here, you can see the alphabet slip cipher keys, which is really, really handy. And what you can see is on one page you have the English alphabet with the Relayan on top, and then the other page is the same alphabet without the English language. So you're learning it as you go. And then you're able to start translating certain words and everything. And I'm not going to sit here and try to do that right now. But that is just an absolutely amazing thing. So we move onward, and we move into the actual rites and rituals of this. And this book, this tome, is just amazing. The artwork in it is mind-blowing. And the rites and rituals are fairly simplistic. The majority of the rituals is a meditation called void meditation. Now, void meditation is a fairly common meditation. You find it in Sithism. You do find it in certain sects of theistic Satanism. You find it in martial arts, all over the place. Void meditation is a common meditation type. But what Winter has done is he has broken it down into multiple levels of void meditation to take the cultists deeper and deeper and deeper and help them expand their consciousness. And this is awesome. This is absolutely awesome. And the way that he describes it, he's just got different levels throughout it and everything. And it's just different applications of it. Different ways you can apply the void meditation to target certain things about yourself that you may want to correct or enhance so you can achieve ascension. And that's one of the major things about this, is ascension, achieving the great work and everything. And it's just, yeah. So moving onward, there's other rituals in this. And this is where it starts getting into actual rituals. And this is where certain elements start getting to be a little bit horror, a little bit of tongue-in-cheek horror, and I have to chuckle at Winter for that because he had everything going so well before, and then he throws in a little bit of horror to get you laughing. But it's also, it works for it because this is Lovecraftian based, and Lovecraft was horror. And a lot of this is cosmic horror. And so one of the first rituals that we actually come to that is an actual ritual is the self-baptism. Yes, apparently the cultists baptize themselves. They don't get baptized by another person, like how in Satanism or even Christianity, where you have a priest, like myself, baptize you or baptize your children. Um, Satanism does have self-baptisms as well, but generally the oldest form of satanic baptisms, again, goes back to Anton LaVey and how they did baptisms for the adult and children. And the cult of Cthulhu does self-baptisms, which actually makes sense for them because a lot of occultists nowadays live so far apart that it really does get pretty difficult for us to come together and everything. So to be able to work and operate on your own really becomes important. That's another really great benefit of the Bible of Cthulhu for the cultists, is that it really is a one-in-all manual. And this is just really, really great. So we have also the ability to create personal sigils, instructions on how to do it. Now, again, the trapezoid Baphomet is my personal sigil, but it is also the sigil of the Satanic Thulian Society. And I share it with the entire Satanic Thulian Society, just as Anton LaVey shared his sigil with the Thunderbolt. They are, these are sigils that people will recognize our philosophies from and everything. And that's really great. And what's really cool is Winter has provided his, in this book, the reasons why you want to create your own personal sigil and the purposes for it and how to do it. And I think that's really, really awesome. And so, yeah, we just see some, again, amazing artwork throughout it. And I'm going to be wrapping this up here soon, so we're not going to be going all the way through this. But one thing that I do want to point out to people is that we do come to holidays. There is different holidays and different numbers and what their principles were. One of the really interesting ones is we just had a holiday, which was Beltane, but also it is a Cthulian holiday, and it's yeah. I'm not really going to try to pronounce it, but you can see it right there, and I found that really interesting. It's like Niglui Nigut Niglui Niga. It's really interesting, and it has to deal back with the actual Lovecraft story, the Call of Cthulhu, and the ship that was boarded and all this other stuff. So if you haven't read the Call of Cthulhu, go read it. There's other holidays as well, Lovecraft's death, and again, just going to different writings. But one thing that I found, and I have to say thank you, Winter, because this is really cool, and it really does hammer home the point that I made before, that Satanism and Cthulhianism are intricately intertwined. As everybody knows, there is beautiful artwork throughout this entire book, and most of it is Lovecraft based, but there is an image. And, Shub Niggurath is called the Black Goat with 1,000 young. But what is more important is that we see a picture of Baphomet in this book. And there is a whole section that needs to be translated from the Relayan alphabet. And that is one of the things that I find really, really awesome that he did. And when I saw that, I was like, that's cool. That rocks. So this is where I'm going to wrap it up. The Bible of Cthulhu is one of the most powerful and awesome books that I have ever seen. when it comes to occultism. It is one of the most well-rounded religious Bibles for an organization that I have ever had the privilege to read. Winter sent this to me as a gift because of my initial review of the Cult of Cthulhu, which was just a on-the-spot, just initial gut reaction review. And right from the word go, I have always loved what these guys were doing. They're a really awesome group. Since then, I've had plenty of interactions with them, and I can't say enough good about them. If you're into H.P. Lovecraft, if you vibrate with that notion, that theory of cosmic terror and cosmic indifference, and you want to learn about Cthulhianism as it should be practiced, then definitely go to the Cult of Cthulhu's website and buy the Bible of Cthulhu. I have done several videos on these guys now, talking about this book, going through it section by section. Unfortunately, the Tome of Cthulhu itself, I had to kind of bum rush through, and I plan on going back through that, but what I did manage to get through, I loved. I mean, it was one of the driest out of the entire book, but I really did love it all the same. When I got into the Tome of Shub Niggurath, I was blown away by the detail of occultism. What is packed in there, into this one book, into the Tome of Shub Niggurath, is years worth of study, and you can tell it's years worth of study, research, and development. When we look at this book and we think about everything that has gone into it, and especially if you're a guy like me who's written books and everything, and like I showed before, I have my own book here, the Satanic Testament. This is the revised expanded edition, but even if you look at the original edition, there was a ton of work that had to go into it. And this, which is thickness-wise, it's actually on par with the Bible of Cthulhu for thickness-wise. So there is a lot of research that went into this. So I can really, really appreciate everything that Winter must have had to go through just to write this book out. The long nights, the sleeplessness, the brainstorms, the epiphanies, and everything else all went into this marvelous book. And what we get out of it is a work of love. We get out of it passion and just hard research and understanding. My opinion is Winter is probably one of the best occultists out there. He has to be, because of his understanding of this. And I know I'm saying a lot. That's a big taboo for YouTubers. But honestly, I'm just always blown away when in all the sections of this book that I've read through and looked at, and just I've always been blown away by it. It has been a roller coaster ride of a read. It has been a joy to read this book. And I am very proud to actually have my own copy of it, to add in with my other Cthulhian copies of Avenger Satanas and Cthulhianism. But out of all that, Winter Whately has grasped and brought together Cthulhianism, just as Anton LaVey grasped and brought together Satanism. That's what I'm going to say about this book. I give this entire book, from front to back, start to finish, 20 out of 5 stars, if you want to put it that way. It is probably one of the best occult books out there today. And I advise everybody to go to the Cult of Cthulhu website and buy this book. It is a must-have for the library. And if you're an STS member, go to the Cult of Cthulhu website if you haven't done so already and buy this book. It is going to be an essential for our required reading list because it's just awesome. It really is awesome. And theories, concepts, and notions within this book is absolutely 100% powerful. And that's what I got for you all today. Excuse me. So tell me what you think in the comments down below. I look forward to seeing everybody down there. Again, here in the next few days, we are on the 28th. We are going to be hosting a live stream Satanic High Mass here at Firethorn Manor, right here in the Black Parlor. And it's going to be live for the first time ever. I am nervous as shit about it. I'm used to recording things. I'm not used to being live. Yeah. Until then, you know, like I said, go out and buy Winter's book. Check out my books as well. I always appreciate that. Send Winter messages. Tell him what kind of job he did. Read his book and go throw some support over to the Cult of Cthulhu. They are really awesome people. And until next time, tell me what you think in the comments down below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Give me a thumbs up and tell YouTube that you like my content. And I will see you guys later. I'm Lucifer Lake Borden, and I'm out of here.